The morning sun streamed through the palace windows, painting golden patterns on the marble floors. Cinderella, now back in her modest chamber, gently placed the remaining glass slipper on her wooden dresser. Her heart swelled with memories of the previous night, the swirling music, the prince's warm smile, and the magic of her dream coming true. Yet, as she gazed at the delicate shoe, a peculiar sensation tingled in the air. The slipper began to shimmer, emitting a soft, ethereal glow. Cinderella blinked in surprise as a wisp of light spiraled from its heel, forming intricate, glowing symbols in the air. Before she could react, the slipper lifted off the dresser, hovering momentarily before vanishing in a burst of glittering sparks. "Gus! Jack!" Cinderella called, her voice filled with both alarm and intrigue. The two mice scurried in, their little faces alert. Gus tugged at her sleeve. "What happened, Cinderella?" "The slipper, it's gone. Disappeared into thin air." The mice exchanged glances before Jack pointed to the window. "Look! Glowy footprints." Sure enough, faint, sparkling footprints trailed out of the open window, glowing like stardust against the early morning light. A strange thrill ran through Cinderella's veins. This was no ordinary loss, it was a call to adventure. Wrapping her cloak around her shoulders, she whispered, "Let's find it." With Gus and Jack perched on her shoulders, she followed the luminous trail out of the palace grounds and into the unknown. The sparkling trail led Cinderella deep into the forest of echoes, a place of ancient trees and whispered secrets. The air here was cool and damp, filled with the earthy scent of moss and wildflowers. As she walked, she noticed how her every step seemed to echo endlessly, overlapping with whispers she couldn't quite make out. Suddenly, a soft voice filled the air. "Find the heart. Follow the light." "Who's speaking?" Cinderella asked, her voice firm despite the eerie surroundings. The whispers ceased, replaced by the rustling of leaves. Out from the shadows stepped a magnificent silver fox. His fur shimmered like moonlight, and his emerald eyes glinted with intelligence. "I am Salas, the guardian of this forest," the fox said in a smooth, deep voice. "Your slipper has not been stolen, it has chosen to seek its true purpose." "What do you mean?" Cinderella asked, her curiosity piqued. "The magic of the slipper is connected to your heart. To reclaim it, you must prove you are worthy of its power," Salas explained. He turned and began to walk deeper into the forest, glancing back. "If you are brave enough, follow me." With a deep breath, Cinderella followed Salas into the heart of the forest. The path became more treacherous, gnarled roots twisted across the ground, and patches of mist clung to her ankles. Along the way, Salas posed riddles and challenges that tested her wit, patience, and courage. At one point, she had to cross a glowing river by stepping on stones that disappeared beneath her feet. "Trust yourself," Salas advised. Cinderella closed her eyes, feeling the magic of the moment guide her steps. One by one, she made it across. Finally, They emerged into a clearing where a single beam of moonlight illuminated the next part of the glowing trail. The clearing opened into a meadow unlike anything Cinderella had ever seen. Golden orbs floated gently in the air, each one shimmering like a captured star. When she reached out, one of the orbs drifted toward her, glowing brighter as it approached. Inside the orb, a memory played out, a warm, golden scene of her mother sewing a pair of delicate slippers, her face radiant with love. "These are for you, my darling," her mother's voice echoed softly, though the memory faded quickly. Tears welled in Cinderella's eyes. She had almost forgotten that her mother had been the one to gift her the glass slippers long ago, infused with her love and the magic of kindness. Salas stood beside her, his expression unreadable. "The slipper is more than an accessory," the fox explained. "It carries the legacy of your mother's strength and compassion. To truly reclaim it, you must embrace the heart of her gift." As Cinderella turned back to the meadow, the golden orbs began to swirl around her, forming a radiant path leading to the distant mountains. The glowing trail she'd been following was now brighter than ever, pointing toward a towering peak where a mysterious castle glimmered under the moonlight. Her resolve strengthened, Cinderella set off toward the mountains, the echoes of her mother. The glowing trail led Cinderella to the foot of the towering mountains. The air grew cooler, and the faint hum of the trail seemed to carry whispers of encouragement. As the path steepened, Cinderella encountered her first challenge, a colossal stone gate carved with intricate symbols of stars and vines. Salas padded to her side. "The gate will not open without an offering of truth. Speak from your heart." Cinderella placed her hand on the cold stone, its surface alive with faint vibrations. She closed her eyes, letting her thoughts flow. "I have always longed for freedom, to live as my true self without fear or constraints. The slipper was a symbol of that dream, and I must honor its meaning." The gate rumbled and began to part, revealing a hidden staircase that spiraled upward into the clouds. Salas nodded approvingly. "Your honesty will light the way." Climbing the staircase was arduous. The higher Cinderella climbed, the thinner the air became, but her determination only grew stronger. Halfway up, a sudden gust of wind swept through, and out of the mist emerged a swarm of glowing moths. Each moth carried fragments of a riddle. What is delicate yet strong, fleeting yet eternal? Cinderella pondered as the moths swirled around her. Then, a memory surfaced, her mother's hands carefully crafting the slippers, the warmth of her smile. "It's love," she whispered. "The answer is love." The moths dispersed, leaving a shimmering path that guided her to the mountain's peak. Cinderella stood awestruck before the crystal castle. Its surface gleamed under the starlit sky, refracting light into thousands of colors that painted the surroundings in an ethereal glow. She hesitated, the grandeur of the structure making her feel small. Salas nudged her gently. "Go on," he said. "This is your next step." The grand doors of the castle opened silently, revealing an immense hall lined with mirrors of every shape and size. The air inside was cool and carried a faint hum, as if the walls themselves were alive with energy. Cinderella's footsteps echoed as she stepped in, and she noticed that each mirror reflected a different version of herself. One mirror showed her as a young girl, her face smudged with dirt as she tended to the garden under her mother's warm gaze. Another reflected her servitude under her stepmother, her eyes downcast but her spirit unbroken. A third mirror displayed her radiant and joyful at the royal ball, her gown shimmering as she twirled with the prince. But some mirrors revealed darker visions, her loneliness, her doubts, and the moments she nearly gave up hope. Salas padded to her side. "These are pieces of your journey," he said. "To reclaim the slipper, you must confront them." As Cinderella gazed at the mirrors, one in the center began to glow, drawing her toward it. She saw her reflection staring back, but it wasn't mimicking her movements. Instead, it stepped forward, as if crossing the boundary of the glass. The reflection spoke, her voice firm but gentle. "Who are you?" I'm Cinderella," she said, her voice trembling. The reflection shook its head. "Are you the servant? The dreamer? The princess? Or something else entirely?" Cinderella hesitated, her mind racing. Then she straightened her posture and looked directly into the eyes of her reflection. "I am all of them," she declared. "Each version of me has faced challenges, loved deeply, and hoped against all odds. They are all part of who I am." The mirrors around her began to shimmer, their surfaces breaking apart into thousands of tiny lights that swirled around her. The air filled with warmth, and a path to a hidden chamber opened at the end of the hall. Cinderella stepped forward, her heart steady, knowing she had passed the castle's test. The hidden chamber was unlike anything Cinderella had ever seen. The walls were adorned with constellations that seemed to shift and dance, and at the center, on a pedestal of pure starlight, rested the missing glass slipper. It radiated a soft, warm glow, as if alive. Cinderella approached cautiously, her heart pounding. When she reached out to touch it, a surge of energy coursed through her, filling her with a profound sense of connection, not just to the slipper, but to everything it represented. Memories of her mother, her struggles, and her dreams flooded her mind, intertwining into a single, clear realization: she was stronger than she had ever known. The voice from the castle hall echoed again, now gentle and encouraging. "The slipper is not just an object, it is a reflection of your resilience, kindness, and hope. It is a symbol of who you truly are." As the slipper's glow intensified, the second slipper materialized on her other foot, completing the pair. Cinderella's plain dress transformed into a gown of silver and gold, its fabric shimmering like a river of stars. In her hands appeared a wand, delicate yet powerful, its handle shaped like intertwining vines. Salas approached, his eyes gleaming with pride. "You have proven yourself worthy, Cinderella. The slippers and the wand are now yours, tools to bring light and hope to those in need. Use them wisely." Before she could respond, the chamber began to hum with energy. The walls of constellations came alive, projecting scenes of the kingdom, the despair of its people, the unjust rule of her stepmother, and the kindness Cinderella had shown even in her darkest moments. She understood her mission now. These gifts were not just for her, they were meant to restore balance and inspire others. As Cinderella stepped out of the castle, the night sky erupted with a cascade of shooting stars. The glowing trail reappeared, leading her back to the palace. But this time, she felt no hesitation. She wasn't returning as a servant or even just as a princess. She was returning as someone who had found her strength and purpose. The kingdom awaited, and Cinderella was ready to step into her destiny.